The Evergreen Media Network Studio, powered by Scott Tree Services.
Come in, Orson. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Deplorables.
We're like missing
How we doing
one.
today?
We're good,
Yeah.
we're good, but we're missing one. Here, let me get the other spot on there. We got Vern in the corner, but we got, what do we got here? Here we go.
That's it. The man from blank.
I heard
He's
got
our
a
roving
street named
reporter, he
after
said.
him. Yeah, I should have put that as the deplorable host.
Deplorable host, yes.
The deplorable host.
He said he's the roving reporter today. I told him so he's the man on the street, but I used his last name when I text him.
Oh yeah,
Man on the street.
Yeah. The Mahon.
Yeah, a little play on words there. So where is he? In Georgia? He said he had to go to Georgia. Was he going for peaches?
He's on his way to Georgia and to pick up some equipment for the trade show that we have on Saturday. And while he's there, I told him to stop by the Georgia Fulton County DA's office and interview Fannie. Big fan.
Pat Fannie Willis?
I said that would go great.
That would be a good interview.
It would be.
Yeah, so we'll have to get him as the roving reporter to do that. He's not going to do it. He won't do that. Yeah. If you hear this,
get him
Kevin,
a microphone. We got to get him a little microphone with like the call sign on it or something, you know?
Just go up there with a cell phone. Works just well.
No. You got to make him feel more important.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't work, just hand him a microphone. You get him a styrofoam one. It doesn't matter. Spray paint it black. He'll talk into it. It doesn't matter.
We'll get him a Mr. Microphone. You remember those?
There you go. There you go.
Especially
if
it doesn't work.
I'd follow him around with a black broomstick with a boom mic. Say, go ahead, talk.
Over his head. So we say
keep knocking him in the head.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Speaking of knocking,
what a beautiful day it is here in New York. It is. I actually had the air conditioning on in my vehicle today for the first time since last summer.
Really?
And you know what the funny part is every time you turn that AC on for the first time, you got your fingers crossed that it actually works and you don't have some kind of issue that you got to go get it charged or a leak or something. I'm a car guy, so I do a lot of my own repairs, but it's like every time I turn that AC on for the first time, the fingers are crossed and I'm like, come on, you can do it. But
you're not one of those guys that puts it on like in December?
No.
I wouldn't either.
I lost
it's cold enough.
Your voice came in and out on that, Cindy. I didn't hear all you said.
I said you're not one of those guys that turns it on in December or January just to see if it works, to try it every once a month or whatever.
Well, if you know how the system actually works, it's not going to kick on. See, you Southern folk don't know this kind of stuff. I'll give you an example. We'll use my house. I have a refrigerator in my garage, because I'm a family of 5 here and there's a lot of mouths to feed, so we need more storage. My garage is not heated. So in the wintertime, the garage is not warm enough to make the freezer actually work because it goes by the ambient temperature outside. It's the same thing with a car. You can turn the AC on all you want, but if the temperature doesn't work right, it's not going to kick a compressor on. You might feel air coming out, but the compressor is not going to kick on.
Okay.
That's what the difference is. They used to say in the old days, at the risk of getting mechanical, to lube the O-rings because there's an oil in there. So you want to cycle the system just to keep everything lubricated so it doesn't leak. But
those days are gone. Yeah. Okay. So now I know.
You know what? Systems have gotten a lot better as I've been a car guy for 40 years. So it's what they were in the 80s to what they are today are two completely different animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys remember, my wife and I were in a bad car accident back in January.
Yeah.
We were rear-ended by a drunk driver, and I finally brought her truck home today.
So really?
the truck's been out of my hands for over a month, and they just finished it, and I went and picked it up, and I drove it home, and it was 76 degrees. I had the sunroof open, and the sun is beating on me, and I'm like, you know what? This is getting a little too sticky. Let me put the air conditioning on. And she cooled up right away. I was like, yes, home run.
What happened to the driver?
Yeah.
The guy who hit us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my wife would like to think he's still in the gulag somewhere, but
Okay.
he probably spent the night in jail. And when he sobered up, they let him out. And my attorney's actually trying to figure out where he is, but because we got the DA contacted us because clearly he broke the law in more ways than one.
Yeah.
So, but we haven't gotten any phone calls and follow-ups on it yet. So,
Really?
he's not a serial killer, so I'm sure he's not on the top of the list. And thankfully nobody got hurt bad. So
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, Yeah.
Did they
out of 3 cars in the accident, mine was the only one that was able to drive away. Everybody else's car has been recycled by now. So
That's my
But anyway.
can.
yeah, I say tuna cans. It's a tuna can now. It's a tuna
Remember
can.
the ones, was it the sardine can that you had to go around
Yeah.
like this?
The
We
key.
thought that was the coolest thing. Yeah. With the key.
The little key.
Yeah, I love it. I didn't want to eat the
My
sardines. I
dad
just
used
wanted
to-
to open the cans.
My dad used to take those cans for lunch, for work. He'd have a half a loaf of Italian bread and one of those cans, and that was his lunch.
Yeah.
And a bottle of wine.
That's like in the bottle of wine. So there you go. There's the two
Yeah.
best things to have right there, a bottle of wine and the sardines. Yeah.
Yeah. Old
So
school
should we
European way.
Yeah, and they lived longer and, partied harder than anybody else.
My dad's going to be 91 in June.
Yeah, so
Amen.
So, yeah.
It worked.
I keep telling him, you move the goalpost because I'm coming after you. That's all. You just keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
So should we say the Pledge of Allegiance? You got the flag up there. I see you got your we got the statue.
Well, you know what? I unveiled him last week,
Okay.
and I said, let me try and give you guys a better view of the whole situation here.
Go to your
It's
right.
not easy
Yep.
trying to navigate the camera,
Go that way.
and he's
There
got a
you
little
go.
he's got a little button here, and you push the button.
We are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
They're all famous quotes from DJT here. Anyway, he did some. He scored some big bucks over the weekend, huh? He had some
Yeah,
kind
he
of
did.
fundraiser down there by
Yeah,
you.
he did. Yeah, he did.
50 million.
He
And what's
outdid the Three Stooges in here in
Yeah.
Manhattan.
Yeah. 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 And they had a star-studded cast of all the Hollywood,
They did. Royalty.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they had Slick Willie,
Yep.
Barry,
Mm.
the resident buffoon, and Jabba the Hutt. Right?
Yep.
Those were the 4.
Yep.
And he still raised more money all by himself. And I heard it was a small venue too. It wasn't a lot of people.
No, it wasn't.
So Good for
the
him.
people are behind him. But we're talking about Trump. It still didn't play it in a lot of mainstream media. What do you think about the guy that was knocked out and almost killed with a sledgehammer? The Trump supporter who had a Trump RV van in New Jersey, and some guy named Gonzalez, I guess, took exception to this van being about Trump and knocked him over the head like 5 times with a sledgehammer. He's in critical condition.
Oh, wow.
when was this?
Yeah.
It was April 5th, just a couple of days ago.
Oh.
Of course, you're not going to hear it.
I know
because
nothing
it's a Trump
about it.
supporter.
I don't either.
Yeah, media reports have said the Trump RV, he's got an RV that's made up, for Trump, outside of Crown Tire after the assault. Police emphasized that the assault was not politically motivated. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did he do? Talk bad about his mama? I don't understand.
I don't either. But the guy was a nutcase, and you took a sledgehammer to him.
That's
It was head.
crazy.
I know nothing about this.
Me
this
either.
is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
Hey, I got a question for you Floridians.
Uh-oh.
I have a very good friend of mine who's we've been in a debate all week because apparently he's a Kennedy supporter.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering, are you guys encountering any Kennedy supporters down by you?
Fern, what about you?
I haven't seen anything about Kennedy here.
I have some news from the front about that. And this is kind of interesting.
From the front lines.
From the front lines. And this is true. And I was the reporter on the street there, so I know.
Okay.
Many, many people that I talked with in California who don't like Trump or Biden are going for RFK Jr.
RFK.
They are.
Yeah, how did that play out?
I don't know.
I had this debate with my friend, who's he's apparently a Kennedy supporter, and of course, I'm gonna bust his you-know-whats as much as I can about it. But at the end, I said to him, you know what? Years ago, I thought it was a great idea to vote for Ross Perot.
Mm-hmm.
But you were only hurting the two mainstream candidates by doing that because you're taking the vote away. And lo and behold, like the next day, I think it was Newsmax or something like that, released a story about Kennedy, and it said the Ross Perot of 2024. And I'm like, see, this is exactly what I was talking about.
Okay, but here's another side to it that I read. Again, reporter on the street. So think about Teddy Roosevelt. And he came in on the third party, and he won.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think Kennedy has that kind of mojo.
Well,
I don't know.
He's
Vern, I think we got to get a microphone for Cindy, too. If she's going to be a man on the street, well, a woman on the street as well, we got to get her a microphone as well.
I'm just using my phone.
I don't think Kennedy...
I'm just tacky.
You don't want the boom mic?
No, I don't need the boom. You can come behind. I'll need an assistant if I do that.
There you go.
There was something that I was going to say too. Oh, so the person that Kennedy picked for the running mate, which is the former wife of the Google, one of the Google people,
Nicole Shanahan.
Yeah, has, from what I understand, did pay for the Super Bowl ad and has a lot of money available.
Uh-huh.
And
she's blue. She's a Democrat, correct?
Yes. Yes. I mean, she definitely leans liberal, but she has absolutely no name recognition. None whatsoever.
No. She doesn't. No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. Who did Teddy Roosevelt have? Not to keep beating that whatever, but who did he have as his running mate? Because he won. He had the charisma and whatever. I mean, Kennedy, he doesn't have that, but he's got name recognition.
And he's on the right side of a lot of issues. The vaccine.
He is.
January 6th, and he comes across, a little harsh with his, because his voice, so people don't, he's not as pretty as his,
well, it's a medical condition he has. It's not
right.
Yeah,
right. He's not his uncle, right?
Right. Yeah. But he doesn't have that charisma, but he speaks it, he talks about children's vaccines, he talks about this mRNA vaccine, and he's been on that. So that in itself will take a lot of people from the conservative side. If they don't like Trump, they see him as more of a conservative than a liberal. He's trying to play both sides.
Yeah, he is.
True. But like a true politician would.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was my argument with my friend. I'm like, well, he's a politician.
Yeah.
He goes, well, he's an attorney. I'm like, okay, but he was a congressman, right? Wasn't he a congressman before he threw his hat in the ring?
I think.
All right, so he's a politician.
Yeah.
Well,
he's gonna say, what's the old saying? If when he's not kissing babies, he's stealing their candy, right? What was that old phrase?
Yeah.
He's doing what he has to. I like it. He talks a good game too. Obama talked a good game too. He should have been a DJ on some radio station somewhere because he was a smooth talker. But that doesn't mean he's going to bear fruit. Did
I ever tell you the story about my time with the Secret Service? I was working on the Republican campaign for John McCain up in Melbourne, Florida.
Okay.
And he was coming in, and there was a venue. There were 5,000 people going to be at the King Center Performing Arts. So I was bringing in the VIP dignitaries and bringing them sitting down. And then afterwards, how they have people on the backstage in their shirts or whatever, standing behind the candidate. I was literally right behind him, John McCain, during his speech. And I had written this letter to him. And granted, it was crazy, but it was basically to paraphrase, look, Senator McCain, you have all of this experience. Barack Obama doesn't. He has good ideas, but, you don't take somebody from the mailroom and make them the CEO of a company overnight. You're not going to win. Why don't you try to unite the country? Go to Barack Obama, ask him to be your VP. Work together, white, black, Republican, Democrat. It hasn't really been done. And so he gets done with his speech, and I'm right on the dais, right above him, and he was running late. And so he was supposed to turn around and shake hands as he goes down the line and out the door. Mm-hmm. And he moved a couple of steps away from me, so I didn't get a immediate face-to-face with him. So, not being deterred by that, I stepped toward him and said, Senator McCain, can I say? I had the letter in my hand. The next thing I know, I was tackled, pulled off stage, bear hugged, and carried off stage by the Secret Service. Spent 20 minutes with them. Now, granted, even to be on the stage, you had to be vetted. So they took me back there. They read the letter. They redid the background check. They came back to me and they said, "Good idea. Never going to happen. Get out of here." So that was my foray with them.
When you first started the story, Vern, I thought you were implying that you were a member of the Secret Service.
Oh, God,
and I was like, okay, let's see where this is going to go.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like,
you said my time with the Secret Service.
My 20 minutes
right?
of investigation
I'm not hearing
time
things.
being tackled.
Exactly what I thought. I'm like, he never told us this, and do we want to be in the same room?
I sort of look
with
on
him?
Cindy's face, and I'm like, all right, let's just shut up and let Vern go with this and see where it goes.
So,
that is funny.
Yeah. So not to be deterred, after this place is cleared out, by the time I was released, Fox News was up there. They were doing doing their wrap up, and campaign Carl Cameron was on. And I went up to him and I showed him the letter. I figured I'd get my 15 minutes of fame. And that didn't pan out too well.
You
either.
did, but it was 20 minutes behind the curtain.
Yeah. With bracelets.
We could be visiting you in Guantanamo right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We could.
I hear the weather's lovely.
Yeah, on which side of the fence?
Both sides, but one side has cigars and the other side doesn't. That's the
right.
problem.
There you go.
I went to the Dominican Republic on a missions trip last year.
Why?
July, from a church.
Oh, okay.
On a missions trip, to help.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And as I go there, I was picked out for extra security check. I didn't think nothing about it.
Did you have that shirt on that you're wearing right now? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, when it says, we owe illegals nothing, we owe our veterans everything.
Yeah, we do.
No, so anything, so I do the mission trip, and I'm coming on the way back. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm going in, and they singled me out for extra security and escorted me upstairs. Checked my bags and all that, had the dog running around. I go back downstairs. I got my whole church group there with me, and they're waiting for me. They're like, "What's going on?" I said, "I don't know." About 5 minutes later, we're waiting for the plane to arrive. Mr. Vern Finicani, will you please report to the security station at gate such and such? Go back up there. They look at me to highlight my card. Okay, well, I get on a plane, and no problem. I get on a plane. I land in the U.S. Get to the customs, and with my passport, he looks at me. He looks at the screen. You have to report for extra security. Follow me.
Again?
Like, what the hell? Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, 3 times. 3 times. And I think it has to do with that I'd written a political piece on my Patriot webpage. And this George Soros group called the Institute for Human Resource Education and Human Rights. Anyway, they wrote this piece on me saying that basically I was wanting to declare a civil war. I wanted to murder people. It was crazy, because I simply said that they're pushing us into a conflict that we don't want, and the Constitution says, we've got to end it. Anyway, and we have a right. It's our duty, after a long train of abuses, to overthrow said government. I said, I don't want it. But they totally, I thought I was going to be getting a knock on the door. because something told me in my head one day, Google my name. I did. And then this little piece comes up. I'm like, what's this? And I'm reading it. And they had pictures of me with Marjorie Taylor Greene at an event. They doxed me. They told me what city I lived in. I mean, it was actually kind of scary what they did. And I'm a little dude. I don't know anybody. I'm not going to hurt anybody. You know, I don't understand.
You're the guy in the corner.
That's it.
Yeah, you
I'm the guy in the
are, but
corner.
you're the guy that knows the Secret Service for 20 minutes.
You do have more Secret Service experience than I do, Vern. I mean,
And me too.
you got to call a
Well,
spade a spade.
You know what? I do have some, but I'm not going to admit to what I know. Because then I'll be the one that's, come on over here. We need to refrisk you.
What's scary is that the way the government is going against its own people, and how the other day, last week, I think we talked about it, where the FBI showed up at that lady's house for a Facebook post that she posted.
Yes.
Well, look what they did here locally with the, I'm going to forget his name, the former mayor, when he was on January 6th, and he was a couple of streets over, a couple of blocks over. They spun this whole thing that he was like, almost the guy that started the whole thing. It was crazy. I mean, I don't really want to talk through my head. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was bad. It wasn't good when he was in D.C. on January 6th. It wasn't a good thing, and he was just there for whatever reason he was there for. It didn't have anything to do with that.
Well, if they misconstrue what you write, and they take little extras, just like they do with Trump. You say one thing,
right,
and they focus in on that narrow little thing that you said, but it's totally taken out of context, and it makes you look like you don't know what you're talking about, or that you're crazy, or you want to do X when you want to do Y.
That's
editing.
It's our mystery host.
Oh, the man on the street?
Yeah, it's the man on the street. I wonder if he got somebody. Is he over there? Who's he interviewing now? Do we know?
Don't.
I have no idea.
I don't have. Well, it's scary. It's almost like Soviet Union kind of, those kind of tactics in East Germany when the wall was still up and all of that. I mean, I don't want to live like that, but we're kind of sliding into some of that stuff. I mean, it's scary.
Yes.
Well, that's it. Between the internet, editing, Photoshop, it's hard to wrap your head around what's true and what's not true.
And now with
the AI. This whole January 6th thing, how many debates we've had about January, not us, but, people talk about January 6th all the time. I've had the same argument with my own father, that he insists that, Trump sent everybody there to riot and this and that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he didn't.
I said, stop listening to the mainstream media. That I actually had to find the clip where he said, go peacefully and patriotically and have your voices be heard.
Which is not easy to find.
Needless to say, my father and I never talked about that again after that because I proved wrong.
Well,
but
politics isn't a good subject for mixed, mixed conversation.
Well, especially the older people, because they think what comes out of the newspaper. My dad is 91, and every morning he walks to buy the newspaper.
Yeah.
Every morning. Okay, and that's his ritual. So for me to tell him, don't believe what you read, don't believe what you see on TV. When I told him, Walter Cronkite died a long time ago, and so did all the integrity in the news.
Right.
He don't want to hear that.
Right.
You don't want to hear that.
Yeah, there is still some integrity, but it's it's like the needle in the haystack.
Yeah, few and far between.
Yeah, and it's so it's like the dark web almost. It's crazy. It's the dark web of reality.
And even with my buddy that I mentioned earlier, that I was debating him about Kennedy and this and that.
Yeah.
He tried to show me facts from I don't know if you guys are familiar with this left-leaning rag called the Young Turks.
Yeah.
They have a podcast, and they lost their what when Trump first they bashed him the whole time, and then they had multiple meltdowns when Trump was elected, and he tried to use them as a source, and I just laughed at him. I'm like, listen, I know Kennedy brings up some good points. I said, but are you going to use the Young Turks as your platform? You lost all your credibility right there. It's just you can't do that.
There's a report coming over that said CIA officer, former FBI official, is on undercover video boasting about using the might of the federal government to jail anyone by setting them up. Gavin O'Blenius, a contractor for the CIA, told another undercover journalist with sound investigation that the FBI can put anyone in jail, set them up. We call it a nudge. So he said anybody that's being problematic, right-wing journalists like Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones, he said of InfoWars founder Alex Jones, the FBI took his money away. And, but it went after him civilly. I don't know, they fined him, $1 billion or some crazy number?
Yeah, it was a crazy number.
For basically freedom of speech.
Right. Well, look what happened with used to be Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're going like did the same thing with Trump. I mean, they're going after him financially. They're going after these guys that can't get them per se legally. So they're going after him with these crazy lawsuits and these left-wing judges that are just off the rocker.
Well, that was one of the things that they used to always do. What was it? They would get you on income tax evasion. Isn't that how they got a lot of the mobsters and stuff? So they couldn't get them on the actual crime.
Capone.
Yeah, so they got them on that income tax evasion, whatever kind of thing. It's not what
Which reminds me, I haven't filed my taxes yet.
You got like 3 days to time.
So I got to get on that.
Yeah, they'll be auditing me now, so I should have just shut up. But yeah, I mean, that's how they did a lot of that stuff, right? And whoever they is, I don't know who they are. Still trying to figure that out.
So you guys, I see obviously you survived the eclipse.
Oh, yes. I was just going to bring that up. Did you guys even have an eclipse by you?
We have an eclipse every day here in Florida.
Really?
No. Boston.
All the hubbub about the eclipse, my wife
ridiculous.
sat out in our backyard with glasses on her face and glasses over her phone so she can record the whole eclipse. And then the money shot, I guess because of the angle of where we were, didn't happen.
Yeah.
She got all mad. She's like, I stood out there all this time and I didn't even get it.
Yeah. I mean, the hype, the people, it's this. It's the people are so gullible, they believe everything. Right. They had all of these crazy preachers on, YouTube prophets coming out telling it's the end of times and look up because Jesus is going to be coming.
Right.
And I said, you're suckers. Go get yourself another booster. Yeah. It's safe and effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you know who made money? The guy who made the glasses.
Right.
Amen.
He's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah. Parts of the country got it. I had a friend in Texas. I texted them and said, how did it work out? And they said it was really good. It was cloudy, and then the clouds parted, and they saw it. They were like south of Dallas. So they saw it.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it's, it's an astrological event. It's not, it's not God sending us a sign.
Oh, God.
I mean, it happens all the time. It happens, every
25 years. I think it's supposed to happen again or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
it just was in 2017 because I said to myself, I remember being in my front yard. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't 45 years ago that I had those funky glasses on and I was watching something. They're like, yeah, that was 2017. I'm like, so now it's 7 years later and we're doing it again.
Yeah, and
so
they said, the path of this and that. It was a message from God. I said, come on. We're in the 21st century. If God was going to send us a message, he'd get on Facebook or Twitter and let us know.
The problem that I had is it was scheduled to go by my area just at the time both my kids are coming home from school.
Oh.
So now my wife was in panic mode because she's like, the kids are on the bus. Are they going to be smart enough? I mean, she sent them out of the house yesterday morning with their own set of eclipse glasses because she didn't trust the ones the school was issuing out. And I'm like, you know what? I just hope the school bus drivers got enough sense not to stare at it, But, that screwed up my whole day because I'm like, okay, I can't go anywhere until I know that everybody's home and everybody's safe.
And nobody's looking up.
The eclipse has come and gone, and that was it. But it was it started at like 2:00 here and ended at like 3:30 or something. So it was right at the meat of my afternoon. I'm like, this is terrible.
Here they gave the kids a school day. I think most of them took the day off. They didn't go to school.
Some school districts up here had the day off, but not most of them. And never mind that. Just a couple of days prior to that, we had an earthquake. here in New
Yes,
York.
I was going to ask about that. So did any of your dishes and walls and all that come tumbling down?
Oh, it was horrible, horrible. I think some of the leaves fell off the trees prematurely. That was about it. That was about it. It was nothing. Matter of fact, the first one, oh, okay, let me back up. Unfortunately, um, the father-in-law of a good friend of mine passed away. He was in his 90s.
Oh,
And
that's
we were
sad.
at the church for the funeral when the earthquake hit.
Really?
So here
that
we
was
are.
A sign?
We are here. Yeah, here we are at church. And all of a sudden, and it's a church I've never been in before. This church was
Oh.
beautiful. Now, I'm a
Even
carpenter by trade, so I admire woodwork. And this all had these wood rafters. It was a peak ceiling with these beautiful wood rafters and all carved wood framing, all rustic looking, really almost like a ski chalet kind of motif to it. So now the earthquake hits. And the dust starts falling down from the rafters because the whole building is saying dust that would normally you wouldn't even know about comes falling down. So now I have enough class to turn my phone off when I'm in church because I don't need anybody to hear the thing ringing. But people have their iPhone watches and this and that, so they start getting messages on the phone. People are getting up, stepping out, and the word right away it was an earthquake. Everybody was confirming it, whatever. The priest didn't miss a heartbeat. He was in the middle of his homily when the earthquake happened, and he didn't even not one hesitation, like it didn't happen at all. I'm like, he had a couple of glasses of wine before he got started because he didn't miss a beat. He went right through the whole thing. Fast forward to later on, the aftershock, I'm actually out in my driveway tooling around on one of my vehicles, and my wife and daughter come running out of the house. That the aftershock happened, and did I feel it? I'm like, wait a minute. I've been outside the whole time. I didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
So
that
it was odd.
So you're not
That
a
was
good
it.
Richter scale then.
No. The funny part is, I wish Kevin was here to confirm this. Maybe we'll bring it up next week.
Yeah.
But the first earthquake I ever experienced, Kevin and I were roommates. We were sharing an apartment in Queens together.
Really?
And he was sound asleep when it happened, and it was three of us, three roommates. We were renting an apartment together, and I was in the kitchen with the other roommate. George was his name, and Kevin comes stumbling out of his bedroom, his hair all afray and this and that, and he goes, "What the hell was that?" So we told him, I think it was an earthquake. The oddity of it was summertime, and just as the earthquake subsided, this breeze came through the window. And we were broke. We didn't have air conditioners, so we had the windows open, and the curtains went fluttering and this and that. So that was the eerie thing that etched in my mind. Then him stumbling out, he confirmed it was an earthquake. He stumbled around the living room and he went right back to bed, and that was it. We never saw him again. So that's how much it thrilled him.
But he got a nice cool breeze in the meantime when he was stumbling around.
And we got a nice cool breeze, which was eerie. That was eerie. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, that is.
But
so that's kind of a claim.
We will rebuild. A couple of lawn chairs got knocked over. No biggie.
You better put in for federal aid.
Yeah. I first I had to contact my homeowner's insurance policy.
Right.
And then we go from there.
Right. Make sure you get the federal aid in the state of emergency. Did they declare a state of emergency in New York there?
No, I don't think they did.
Oh.
I don't think they did.
Huh.
I mean, honestly, you know what? I guess I'm just thick-skinned, so I don't let stuff like that get to me.
Yeah, I know. We're being kind of facetious about it, but I have a kind of a cool story, and I don't know where it is, and you can track them, and I don't remember where that is, so I'm not a very good reporter on this story, but there actually is a great white shark that it's hovering around the East Coast, and they're tracking it like up to Newfoundland and down, and was in Cocoa Beach the other day. I don't know if it was going to Ron John Surf Shop or what it was doing, but was
go for lunch.
It was going for lunch.
It's covering a lot of territory, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's actually amazing to see it, online and see the whole path like this. Oh. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, maybe we could get him on the show.
That's what I was hoping. Where's Kevin? We got to get him to interview
East Coast Shark.
East Coast
the
Shark
deplorable shark.
Deplorable. But
East Coast deplorable shark.
But he's moving. That cat is moving. Yeah.
He's
I don't know
doing
what
good.
is.
Well, if
Yeah.
Kevin doesn't show up next week, we got a seat for him.
We'll get the shark
We'll
on.
put him on the. Put the shark on. That's
Get
it.
the shark on. You know what? Let me let me write a note to myself. Get the shark
That's
on the
it.
show.
We need to track the shark.
Yeah, it's
We
you
need to
can
track the
track him. It's
shark.
totally cool. It is totally cool. So I thought that was an
Yeah.
interesting story.
Get the shark's email. We'll send him a link.
I can buzz in. Scott, does he have an email? 1-800-SHARK.
What-
Yeah, but I thought it was funny he was in Coco. I'm like, maybe he doesn't like Ron John Surf Shop. I don't know. The big thing there.
That's weird.
But that's what we do.
Has
in
it attacked
Florida.
anybody? Why are they tracking it? They just happen to
Because it's
pick
unusual.
him up, or he was tagged at some point.
Yeah, he was probably, he was muffled and tagged. Because it was unusual, if I remember what they were talking about the story, that he was that close, or I don't know. I don't know if it had anything to do with pollution, because there's nothing to eat in the ocean. There's only like 1 or 2 things left in the ocean to eat, so I don't know.
No, climate change.
It was climate change.
But did
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, right.
Did you know that they shot out? Scientists tested a fire to cloud device over American soil with the ultimate aim of blocking out the sun. They were on the USS Hornet, which is decommissioned, and they shot what they say was salt to obscure the sun somehow. Some kind of crazy test to obscure the sun. And they're doing that over American soil, and they didn't tell anybody. They're shooting this whatever crap in the atmosphere.
Is that the eclipse?
How long ago was this?
This was 1 day ago. The USS Hornet may be decommissioned,
That's the
yet it
eclipse.
has nevertheless become a launch site for a controversial new war in the skies. The Marine Cloud Biological Program, Coastal Atmospheric Aerosol Research, God, named anyway. They shot this stuff up in there. You check it out over San Francisco Bay.
Oh, very
And
nice.
they didn't tell anybody. And all these people are there. I don't know what's in this stuff they're shooting.
Yeah, that's
That's what's scary.
yeah, it is. That is
So-
scary.
The Hornet is not decommissioned, or they're
No, it
still
is.
using it.
It is
is
decommissioned.
decommissioned.
It
It
must
is.
just
It
be a
is.
So
platform.
they fired it from where it was docked.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Mhm.
landing
Okay,
platform or whatever.
Yeah, right in San Francisco Bay.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Well, that's the Queen Mary is down in Long Beach. There's a whole bunch of ships there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But,
San Francisco, they're trying to cover Alcatraz. That's what they're trying to do.
They're looking for the birds.
Hey, let me tell you,
Yeah,
I
the
did
Birdman.
my last leg of my honeymoon was San Francisco, and
That's
I did
supposed-
the
I-
Alcatraz tour,
Was it nice?
which was amazing.
Yeah,
San Francisco, on a whole, the city, the architecture is beautiful.
gorgeous. Yeah.
The homeless situation was off the charts in
Yep.
05 when I was there. Never
Really?
mind what's going on there now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 19 years ago when I was there. Okay, and look, I'm not afraid to walk down any street, but I'm walking with my new bride, and we were only there for 2 nights, and we're on the return leg from Hawaii, and I'm like, wow, this is sad.
Yeah, it
You're
is.
walking down, just trying to go. We went, I don't know, we took a walk to get something from like a 7-Eleven or something like that, and then walked back to the hotel, and it was every doorway had somebody sleeping in it.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is nuts.
And have you seen
Yeah.
the videos online of these people? And they're gawked out of their mind. They're like zombies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
and they're shaking and they're oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
It's serious, like a zombie apocalypse. I don't know what drug they're taking, but they're taking something. I know they're mentally ill in the first place, but the video is literally scary. I saw one the other
Oh,
day.
they look like mannequins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
dirty
and
mannequins.
they're like this, and they're just oblivious, standing up,
Yeah.
like dead to the world.
A friend of mine was in San Francisco 6 or 8 months ago, and he said it was really bad. They couldn't even go to the laundromat. They were like staying there for a couple of days, and they said it was just, you don't even want to go outside. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And when I was in Denver with my granddaughter 2 years ago, maybe, it was the same right at the Capitol. They're just sleeping on the steps and everything in downtown Denver at the Capitol. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy.
Yet Nancy Pelosi will get
It's
reelected.
sad.
It is sad. It's totally sad. I mean, because you're talking about Denver gets cold. I mean, I don't want to be homeless in a place like that. I mean,
Well, you think about
Crazy.
all the tax dollars that are getting thrown away for this BS war in Ukraine, okay, and what they could be doing with that money here at home.
Yeah.
Amen. Yep.
You know, it turns my stomach to hear all these millions and millions of dollars that are just getting thrown out. And then what happened? Was it yesterday that the resident buffoon is talking about trying to forgive student debt again?
Oh my
That
goodness!
he's trying
Come
to,
on.
even though the Supreme Court told him he can't do it, even the windbag Nancy Pelosi is on record saying the president does not have the power to forgive student loan debt. It just doesn't happen.
But the truth
You know,
is, it's not forgiving the debt.
ridiculous.
It's transferring the debt.
No.
To you and me.
Somebody else is paying for it.
Yeah, that's just buying votes.
Everybody
exactly
that
right.
paid for their own college. Look, my children are
hello,
hopefully,
me. I'll take my money.
There you
I
go.
mean, I had to.
Yeah, you want a
pay.
refund plus interest.
Yeah.
You'll get
I had to
nothing.
work
Plus
3
interest,
jobs
and I
to
don't
pay
blame
mine.
you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I worked
It's
3 jobs
ridiculous.
to get this. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's just a ploy. It's just a ploy to get votes.
It's
Exactly.
buying a vote.
It's-
That's all it is. Buying a vote.
It's exactly. He's trying to.
Yeah.
You know, you try and have a conversation with anybody on the other side and say, "Can you just give me one good thing that he did besides line his own pockets?" He hasn't done anything for Americans yet, and his term's almost over.
I can't figure. And you know what? Honestly, when I've talked with people about it, they think that everything is hunky-dory and it's really good and they're happy about all this. I'm like, so you didn't like $2 a gallon gas? You didn't like the stock market? You know, a lot of people do well in the stock market.
Right.
Yep.
And two, when they're saying that the economy is doing well, most of the jobs that they, quote, say they created have been foreigners brought over and illegals being employed. They came out with that. So the numbers are, you can't trust the government numbers anyway, but, you know, they straight up lie like they do, you know, about crime. Crime's down. Crime's not down.
It isn't.
Oh, here's a story on crime. Now, at the risk of profiling, as I mentioned in one of the previous episodes, my wife is Greek Orthodox. Okay, so the Greeks know where all the Greek churches are all over New York City. It's like you know where, like I know where all the Dunkin' Donuts are. She knows where all the Greek churches
and the pizza places.
Okay.
That's what I like. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, this past Sunday, there was a 68-year-old woman that was attacked walking into church. Now, the video, I watched the attack video. You can see the guy walking. He must be about 40 feet behind her as she's walking towards the church. Now, the church has, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 steps to step into it and has a rail. It's maybe a 40-foot entrance, so there's a rail in the center of it, so people can hang on to walk into the church. She looking at the front of the church. She walked into the left side of that center railing. This animal, I'll say for lack of better words, that was following her, when he saw that she turned to go up the stairs to the church, he came up the right side of that banister, of that handrail, hurdled 2 steps, and pushed her from the top of the chest, and she fell backwards down those stairs and slammed her head on the sidewalk. Okay? He robbed the church. Thankfully, had surveillance cameras that captured all of this.
Yeah, but
He
still,
stood
how is
over her
she?
while she's lying motionless on the floor, went through her pocketbook, took her money, which they said was about $300, and her car keys. And then you see him running down the street, and he gets into her car and drives away. So he was casing her from when she got out. Now, unfortunately, this happened in Jamaica, New York, which is not a predominantly white neighborhood.
Correct.
And the assailant was a man of color. I'm trying to be as PC as possible, Cindy. Okay, so he's, you know what I mean? So, and he's bundled up. He's got a face mask on.
Right.
This whole face mask debacle that now, when I see somebody with a face mask, I see an idiot. That's the first thing I see. Okay, but now when I see a young person wearing a face mask, they're intentionally wearing that mask to hide their identity. So even though they got a good freeze frame picture of this guy, you only
They-
see him from the nose up.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you could tell that he's dark skinned. So either he's a man of color, he could be a foreigner. Whatever the fact is, it's just another multiplication of the crime that's going on here. And this poor woman, and this, I said this to my wife. My wife chewed me out about it because I said, well, she was late for church because there was nobody else outside. You know? And she said, well, no, that's not how Greek masses work. You know, the mass starts at like 7 a.m. and just keeps running all day long. But
Okay.
how do you call it? This poor woman, what was her timing that there was not another soul outside when this happened?
How is she?
You
I mean,
know?
did they say what happened with her and how
She's
she
in,
is?
the priest, they interviewed the priest afterwards, and the priest went to see her, and she's in good spirits. She's expected to make a full recovery. I'm sure she's brokenhearted that she was attacked in front of her church like that.
Yeah.
But just think about how low class
Yeah.
people could be. I don't care what color you are. You see somebody
Yeah.
walking into a church and you attack them. Do you have no moral compass at all? Were you not raised with any kind of dignity at all? I don't get it. It's just another reason to leave the city of New York that has become just a cesspool
Right.
of crime, and it's disgusting. I've spent a lot of time in Queens in the last couple of days, including today, and I actually had to walk about 10, 12 blocks today in a neighborhood that I used to walk and bicycle around all my life.
Isn't
And
that
literally,
sad?
as I'm walking down the street, I'm casing the people that are walking either in my direction or I'm passing, and I'm turning back to see if they're following me,
Right.
just because
Yeah, you
you
have
never
to.
know.
Because you have to.
No.
That's sad.
Now, I'm not a small guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
so
yeah.
if somebody's gonna try to do something with me, first of all, I doubt it's ever gonna be one person.
Mhm.
Okay, it's gonna be multiples.
Right.
Okay, but you got to think twice because
Mhm.
I stand tall. I'm over 6 feet tall. I'm 260 pounds, and I'm nothing to mess with. You
Mhm.
know, so but still, you got to think twice. You never know
Yeah,
because
but
people are
it's like
stupid.
you said. Yeah, we got like 2 minutes left now. Groups will come at you.
Exactly.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
groups will come at you. They will. I mean, but that
Oh, yeah,
poor
you see this?
woman.
You see this chain around my neck? It's
Mhm.
always out. Just the same way you see it there is the way I walk down the street. You know? So, although the guy who made this for me was custom made, he had, when he handed it to me, when he made it for me, he goes, if somebody tries to take this off your neck, they're taking your head with it because it's solid. You know what I mean? So it. But you know what? It saddens me that in the neighborhood I was born and raised in, I got to look over my shoulder.
Yeah, I
It's
know
just
that's yeah.
sad, the whole situation.
And New York used to be a happening place. I mean, I come from New York, not where you do, but I mean, I spent a lot of time where you are, and I never felt afraid to walk down the street. You know, I didn't. But now, I don't even know if I'd drive down it.
My wife still has friends in our old neighborhood that they've quit their jobs or got jobs locally because they're afraid to get on the train.
Yeah, that's another
The
thing.
whole big thing about
yeah,
the
subway.
eclipse, all the
Yeah.
road signs were like, take mass transit, take mass transit. And my wife's like,
Oh.
why is it saying that about the eclipse? I says, because nobody's taking mass transit since
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
entity is losing money. So they're looking for any excuse.
Yeah, we got like 30 seconds left. Do you want to have you want to say goodbye to Kevin, or what are we doing?
Well, obviously our man on the street is, hopefully he's doing something good up in Georgia. I hope he slaps Fat Fanny in the fanny while he's up
something.
there.
Mm,
And
Metaphorically.
metaphorically.
yeah, metaphorically. Well, I don't care if he does it literally too. It doesn't matter to me. I hope there's video. That's all I want to see. But well, we survived without him.
We survived, but we'll
Deplorables.
welcome them back. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we'll see him. We'll see you all next week, I guess.
Yep.
And drive safely, Kev.
Yes.
All right. Take care.
Okay, done.